welcome back to the ADHD Women's Palooza. Oh my gosh, I am so glad you have joined us because we have a brand new member of the Palooza family, and she's going to talk about entrepreneurship, but she's also going to tell us a little bit about her company and how it was founded, and maybe give you some hope about some things that may help treat your ADHD. I'm Linda Rogley. I co-founded the ADHD Women's Palooza way back there in 2016, which means that we have, this is our 9th year. 9 is divine, right? So therefore, we're so glad that you have joined us. If you're brand new, welcome. If you're returning, we're so glad you've returned, because every year I try to have new experts, and I try to get the cream of the crop experts, which I really am lucky to do. I'm so grateful that they return my phone calls. Thank you, God. But also new information. And there's new information evolving all the time. Some of it stays constant, some of the strategies, for instance, some of it evolves, and we want to hear the most cutting edge information. Okay, let me introduce you to Adi in just a moment. And I'm going to mention that, number one, you can watch this again and again, but even better, you can watch it again and again for 27 hours. Remember, that gives Janine 3 more hours to sleep in the morning. And also, please feel free to take this link and send it to anyone that you think might benefit from it. We are not about being stingy about information. We want this information as far and wide as we can send it. And of course, if you send it to a friend, invite them to the Palooza, because it's not going to cost them anything. We never capture your credit card, any of that kind of stuff. We're not one of those really clutchy kind of businesses, or summits for that matter. Of course, you can send us your credit card if you would like to buy all of the sessions. And we have like 30 sessions. Plus, you'll notice that we have, where Monday through Friday, we have a specific mindfulness meditation by our friend, Dr. Mark Burton. So I'm so excited that you get all of those with the session. And I don't want you to forget about the pink ticket party, which happens on Saturday. We've done it every year since Palooza started. I demanded, required, said, we're not doing it unless we have an opportunity for women to talk to each other and be live, so that we can look into each other's eyes via Zoom, I grant you, but we'll have a few experts there. We'll have the opportunity to ask me questions, and also the opportunity for you to talk to each other. We'll set up some breakout rooms so that you can talk to each other. And I think sometimes we are each other's best expert. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Adi Diener. And let me tell you let me give you her biography. If I could just find it, I would be happy to tell you all about her. She is the co-founder and she's the CEO of a company called iFocus Health. She brings a unique perspective to the digital health arena. Are you intrigued already? She brings her blend of scientific expertise and personal experience, which may mean she's one of us, you guys. She might be. She has a PhD in physics, and you're like, how could she have a PhD in physics and have ADHD? Because some of us actually managed to do that, and I'm so thrilled. She also has a background in hardware product development. She blends those together. She uses both of them to innovate for ADHD and brain health management. So it's not just ADHD, but let's have brains that work well no matter where, right? She says it's not about overcoming just professional challenges, but also in our regular everyday lives, about how we navigate with our ADHD. She says at iFocus Health, the focus is on providing the ADHD community with objective data, enabling medical decisions to be made on facts rather than opinions. Oh, what a relief. Oh, I'm so happy about that. That means that each one of us gets ADHD treatment and care that's informed and precise, not this mamby-pamby stuff, and also tailored to our ADHD and the way our ADHD manifests in the world and what we need to be able to manage it. So we're thrilled that you're here, Adi. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so much for
here.
having me, Linda.
Okay, you have to, you piqued our interest. We have to know about iFocus, but let's start with how did you decide to do this? And tell us about your co-founder and how did this all come about?
Yeah, and I'm happy to share. So first, I realized I've been following you since 2019, so 5 years now.
Good for you. Thank you so much.
So I was diagnosed with ADHD back in grad school, so a few years ago.
Okay.
Uh, and no, I went on with life, with the struggles. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was doing a product development, as you said,
Mhm.
thriving in places that are messy. So that's my strong point. If there's a lot of mess around, that's where I come in. Uh, and then my kid was diagnosed.
Ah,
And as I'm sure many can agree, we don't want our kids to go through the same challenges we went through.
oh, no kidding. No kidding.
So that got me thinking, we have to get that in this
Yeah.
space. We have to find a way.
Yeah.
And when I started coming up with an idea, I was looking for partners because I think there is one thing that we learn with
Mhm.
experience and with life is what we don't know and where we need help.
Yeah, exactly.
The first person I talked to was my sister.
Hmm.
She's a data scientist. And when I was trying to think of different solutions, I was asking her, am I saying stupid things? Does this make sense? And eventually I got her to join me.
Oh my God, cool.
Now, as we all know, ADHD is genetic. So she also has ADHD, and we both have kids with ADHD.
Oh, wow. It's a whole family thing.
Completely. Uh, and then also a good friend joined me. She has a background in product in healthcare.
Good.
We met rollerblading as two women with ADHD might, right?
Nice. Nice. That's wonderful.
So now we're a team of three women with ADHD.
Okay. All right.
And I have to say that's super fun.
I'll bet it is. Oh my God. Does anything ever get done? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Because sometimes it's hard enough for one of us to get done, but probably with three of you, you probably help with accountability. It's probably better to have more than one person involved in an entrepreneurship. So that's fabulous. And you get along. I mean, that's my one fear about having somebody be a partner. I'm like, oh, what if we don't like each other eventually? But congratulations on making this work. How long ago did you do this? When was it founded?
So 3 years now.
3 years ago. Okay. And where are you based?
I'm in California in the Bay Area.
Okay, got it. In the Bay Area. All right, perfect. So what does iFocus Health do? I know you were determined to help not only you, but also your son. Well, I don't know. Is it a son, daughter, they, them? Is it a kid anyway?
Let's leave it as a child.
Okay, all right, a child. So tell us what have you come up with in 3 years? And perhaps we might want to know where you're going, but we may save that for the end.
So the first thing was I talked to many people and I learned that diagnosis is very complex.
Ah,
You really need a human at the diagnosis stage.
yeah.
But the place where it seems we can try and kind of we are there in terms of the understanding is to measure progress. Because
Okay.
if you are trying to choose any treatment, whether it's medication or sports or whatever you decide to do,
Yeah.
it's so hard to know when it's really working.
Yeah.
Is it really working? Is it just wishful thinking? You know, do I
Yeah.
think it's not working because I got used to it? Is it just a bad day? All these questions
Yeah.
that, I keep asking myself. And so how can I expect the kid to know better?
Got it.
So um, I was looking for a way to compare a person to themselves, not to do full diagnosis. I'm not looking for definitions.
Got it.
Um, but if you can compare someone and measure their progress, that's very helpful.
Wow, no kidding.
And then we realized that our eyes are tell a lot about where our brain is, right? When you talk to someone, you can see kind of where their eyes go.
Yeah.
And we started by looking at people's eyes when they're reading. So when you read, you have all this reading process, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we found that the differences are amazing. So we compared people that have ADHD with and without their medication, their stimulants. And
Okay.
we see amazing differences. It's actually astonishing
Is that right?
because we don't fully control our eyes. So it's not only our ability to concentrate, it's also impulse control.
Okay.
So you can see really small changes. And we're using AI. Now, AI is a big word
Oh,
today,
yeah.
but it basically AI is what you use when it's not a simple, what they call rule-based. So
Got
we
it.
as people can say, I know this is better than that, but I don't necessarily can write the rules for a difference.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
And before AI, computers couldn't do that.
Mm, got it.
Now, ADHD is the type of condition that is it's complex. It's never one thing, right? You
Exactly.
can't use one thing to measure ADHD.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
know that, right? And
Right.
that's why we pulled in AI. So that's kind of, it's a
Okay.
nice big world, but that's what it is.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so the way we did it, we had people read uh, with and without a medication, and we used that to train the AI, to teach it, basically.
Oh, okay, cool.
And what we found is we could, for 90% of these people, we can
Mhm.
actually see a difference. And that was recently published in
Okay, I missed
a
it. What
scientific
was the
paper.
percentage? What was the percentage again?
90%.
90%? Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. I just needed I needed to hear that again. All right, so 90% of the people, there was a huge difference in with medication versus no medication, correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And there was a difference in what? In reading speed, reading understanding, comprehension, what was it?
So it's the overall AI score, if you want.
Uh-huh.
So if you want, they look more like people that are treated well,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So the scale is not on one parameter. It takes different things. We're not, we're asking comprehension, but it's mostly about the eye movements and
Oh,
how they move.
got it.
But there are different things, right? How many times you go back and forth, how fast you read, and other things.
Okay, got it. Cool. Okay, so how I'm just curious about how you measured eye movements. I'm just was it with cameras that you had people just give me some more details about that.
So we found actually a company that can do that from the webcam, from the
Oh,
camera you and
nice.
I are using right now. Yeah.
Nice. So they were reading online then,
On the computer. Yeah.
or on a computer at least. Okay. All right, cool. So now that you know this, now
Mhm.
that you have this information, what does it mean about treating or helping ADHD folks of any age with, in this case, reading, and certainly knowing that medication makes a huge difference? What does that mean for us?
So right now we have actually a product out, an initial product that people can log in
Okay.
and test themselves, read with and without medication. We don't
Nice.
diagnose ADHD. You can
Got it.
compare yourself
Yeah.
and see how well the medication works for you. You get a score.
Okay,
Kind of,
cool.
there is a nice scale thing,
Yeah, yeah.
and see what works better. We're also asking you to kind of some questions the doctor would ask. How are you feeling that it works? What side effects? So you
Mm-hmm.
have everything together, because when we go to the doctor, they typically ask, how was last week or last month?
Yeah.
We're asking, how is now,
Yeah.
right? So
We
even
can't
that,
remember
you
that.
have that information,
Yeah.
and you could put that next to our eye focus measure and the side effects and get a report and make a discussion based on facts.
Oh, so you can take it to your doctor and then
Yeah.
really have what, again, back to that word informed, an informed discussion about this, because I know, at least it's true for me, I can't remember how I was. I can't remember how I was yesterday, right? Or this morning. So having something that is concrete is really, really going to be amazing. And it sounds like it's going to be amazing, an amazing help and support for our doctors as well, right?
Yeah, so the problem is we know there's a huge shortage of
Yeah,
clinicians, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
many get treated by primary care physicians or
Mhm.
pediatricians.
Yeah,
And they were not, most of them were not educated about ADHD.
that's true. That's true.
And they tried, the ones I talked to really wanted to do a good job, but
Yeah,
they have, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes per patient.
yeah,
They're told to do follow-up every 3 months, and what do they ask on the follow-up? How do they know?
yeah. Absolutely.
So that's not good or fun for anyone, right? Everyone is frustrated. But
Yeah.
if what they're used to doing is looking at lab results,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
And if they can have something they can look at and base their questions on that,
absolutely.
then we can get better care and reduce the load, right?
Oh,
Both on the experts, because you know what? I want the experts to be available for the ones that need them, those
absolutely.
that have complex conditions,
Of course. Of course.
and not take follow-up care for people that are doing okay.
Yeah,
Take their time.
of course.
But then if you can measure, then if there's a problem, you'll be referred back.
Got it. That I love this, and it's especially good for titrating stimulants for their whether you take 20 milligrams or 40 milligrams or cut down to 5, kind of something like that. So what I'm hearing is that it will help. I think it'll help all doctors who treat ADHD or who see
Mhm.
patients with ADHD, but but especially doctors, as you mentioned, who don't have expertise in ADHD, because there's so many things to remember for doctors. I mean, there's so many, not to remember, but so many areas that they have to be experts in, especially if they're like in internal medicine or family medicine or pediatrics. There's so much out there. And of course, a lot of family docs and a lot of pediatricians treat ADHD because the kid kind of thing, and then the family, because we know there's this genetic link. So it sounds like that would be a tremendous help. And I just want to be clear. You tested only stimulants or did you test non-stimulants as well?
So we tested only stimulants, although we do have a user that is taking non-stimulants. The
Okay,
issue with non-stimulants, you need to take it longer for it to take an
of
effect.
course. Right.
So the only challenge there is you need to do a baseline without medication,
Oh, got it.
right? So if you are taking a stimulant, it's easy. You do the test before you take the pill in the morning. If you're
Got it.
taking non-stimulants, you need to do the baselines before you start taking it.
Oh, of course,
But
of
we
course.
actually have a user that is using us for that, and
Okay,
it's working
good,
for her. So.
good. Okay, cool. All right. Do we have to pay for this? Is this like a fee kind of thing, or is it a
So for now,
subscription?
it's free, and I'm offering a link free for the users. All we
Wonderful.
ask is let us know how it's going, give us feedback.
Got it. Cool.
Because, I say it feels like when, people with ADHD, it feels like the world wasn't designed for us.
That's right.
We want this to be designed for people with ADHD.
I love it.
And as we're all different, we need your feedback. We need people's feedback.
Yes, indeed. And it's been my experience that ADHD folks are more than willing to give feedback. They are hungry to give information to somebody so they can do something with it. So, and that's exactly what you're doing. So I love that. And just so everyone knows, we will put that link with Addie's bio and her little picture on the website. So you will have that no matter whether you decide to buy the sessions or buy the whole Palooza or not, you will be able to have access to this amazing tool. So I'm thrilled about that. But now I want to switch gears because now we know what amazing things that you have created and will create in the future. But how did it work to get started with this whole thing? Because there are a lot of ADHD women and ADHD people out there who are very interested in creating their own company. They don't fit into that little cubicle at work. They really want to strike out, but they've heard horror stories about everyone fails in the first 5 years and all that kind of stuff. What allowed your company to succeed and your partnership to succeed? Can you share a little bit about that journey?
So I can share that I, didn't plan to become entrepreneur. It's true. I'm in the Bay Area. It's in the air if you want.
Yeah.
But I was in corporate.
Yeah.
And yes, I was always fighting the size of the box, right?
Uh,
I never fit
yeah, of
exactly in the box. I always,
course.
people would appreciate it, but it also would annoy them that I kind of think outside the box.
Yeah, of
What
course.
about this? I was doing good. It's not that I had the problem, but it was always an effort, but we used it in a way.
Yeah.
And then when I came up with this idea, it was COVID, right?
Oh,
So I had some time,
yeah.
and initially I almost joined another company because of, that's what you think you do. Oh, they're doing something similar. Let me help them.
Mm,
But that didn't work out.
I got it.
And I realized that if I want to make this happen, I need to do it.
I got
It
it.
wasn't an easy decision, and it's not an easy journey.
Ah,
I say that I don't think I would be able to survive it emotionally when I
mhm.
was younger. I don't think I was stable enough.
Ah, got
Not
it.
saying that I was an unstable person, but you
No.
get so many people telling you you're wrong,
Oh, wow.
and you really need to have the inner confidence to deal with it.
Mhm. Yep.
And I think everyone has their struggles. I think people with ADHD and women with ADHD even more so.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
tend to feel we're already always making mistakes,
Got it.
right?
Yeah, of
Eh,
course.
and that's something that comes up within our team. We support each other in the sense that no, it's not you. Don't let them say that to you. You know,
I love it. So that's kind of goes back to that. With three of you, it really does. I love the fact that you use the word team because that really is what I'm hearing here.
Mhm.
And it can't. I mean, it's not always smooth. There's bumps all over the place when you're an entrepreneur. But I remember I used to study with Jack Canfield, and Jack Canfield had some video, some tapes, not video, they were just tapes. Then he said, I made every single mistake you're supposed to make. He had 20,000 things he was going to send to people, and he had the wrong indicia on them for the postage, and it cost him all this money. So we all make mistakes. So it's not about perfectionism, does not exist for entrepreneurs, even though we try. So I just want to mention that, it's hard for all of us, and yet it's also really rewarding. So what are some of the advantages of having your own company?
So it's always interesting.
Never a dull moment, right?
You are not, there are always new challenges. I learn a lot all the time, and I love it. I love
Oh,
learning new things.
yeah.
Uh, I joke that I forgot where my comfort zone is. I left it somewhere in the back. Because I'm not a technical person. I'm not a software person. So
Oh,
I'm a technical person in my background, but I'm not doing the technical work.
yeah.
I joke that my fellow founders, they both do their expertise and I do everything else,
Okay.
which some days it's really very hard,
I got it.
uh, but it's always very interesting. And I have to say that for me, I'm really enjoying the fact that I can help people.
Oh, yeah. That
Uh,
really
so people that tell me about using the product, our best users are women with ADHD.
is that right? Oh, that's wonderful. That is
I
wonderful.
think we learned we need to take care of our own health.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
And I talk to people across the US, and it's so fun to get their feedback, and outside the US also. People that heard from someone, and I talk to someone, how did you hear about us? Oh, I don't remember. No, it's from somewhere else, and someone told me, or something like
Of
that.
course, of course.
And so that's fun. Of course, being my own boss, I'm the worst boss,
Of
right?
course, of course.
But still, it feels it's mine. It's not, you're not doing anything for someone else.
Absolutely right. And I
And
mean, yeah, I mean, you're right, you have all that responsibility, but you also have the rewards.
mhm.
You're not doing this in order to please someone else. And but on the other hand, there's nobody above you and nobody under to catch you either. And it's pretty exciting, exhilarating sometimes, scary sometimes. That's for sure. So you mentioned that you've talked to a lot of people with ADHD, women in particular. How has that been for you to share ADHD stories, because it sounds like you're getting a lot of them. Tell us a little bit about working with ADHD folks.
So first of all, just being a team of people with ADHD has been really, it changes the way we work because
Is that
now we
right?
talk about things. Like
Uh,
we got into the habit of, if someone says, I need to do this, we'll remind them to write it down, not
uh,
in a judgmental way, but
yeah.
it's helpful. And we know each other and what each person needs to
Uh-huh.
succeed. Like
Uh-huh.
one of us needs to write every task always, another one not necessarily, but they might need to be reminded.
Hmm.
Uh, One of my co-founders, she's always late by exactly 3 minutes to a meeting.
So it's predictable, in other words.
And then if she comes only 2 minutes into the meeting, we say you're early.
Oh my God.
So,
I,
it makes it a safe place
yeah.
that these things can be discussed.
Mm,
Also, all our different struggles, and each of them has, there are bad days to all of us,
of course.
both work related and personal, right? We all went through things in these years. They're
Hmm.
not easy years, uh, but they're all accepted. So I think the beginning is to accept each other as people,
Uh-huh.
and that's super strong. And then talking to our customers has been great
Oh,
because they feel the same way, they feel accepted. So I got someone send me an email. I forgot the link, please send me the link again. And usually I would apologize, but I feel comfortable. And I God, it's amazing. We give ourselves a hard time for so many things in our life,
gosh, yes, we
all
do.
the time. And if we can just put that aside a bit and accept who we are,
Yeah.
because so much energy goes, and mine also, it's easy to say, right? It's not always easy to do.
Of
But
course.
so much energy goes to apologizing and feeling bad. And
Absolutely
something I learned that many things that we feel bad about are mistakes everyone does, even neurotypical people,
true.
right?
True.
But we will take them much harder.
Wow, of course. And we take those things, insults and slings personally as well.
Mhm.
Like it must be me kind of thing. And I so appreciate you mentioning that. It just occurred to me when you were talking about the people that you talk to with ADHD, that it seems to me that it would give, if I was one of your clients and I don't take ADHD medication, so I'm not eligible to be part of the group, but it just seems to me that it would give me more confidence that things were better and that things, and because, we've heard from a lot of people over the years that you may not believe your ADHD medication is working, but you ask somebody outside you to see, oh, yes, it's much different when you have your medication on board. This seems like a good validation of that and a good reason to continue or to adjust medication, it seems to me. So,
Exactly.
yeah, what a fabulous idea. Thank you so much for thinking of this on our behalf. I just so appreciate it. I so appreciate it. So what's on the horizon? This is exciting, but what other kind of technology ideas? Well, I don't expect you to give us all your ideas because that would not be fair. But what kind of things, what direction do you expect to go? Deeper into rating, any other things that are interesting?
So our first goal is to become part of the system, right? Right now, our product works what they call direct consumer, so people use
Yes.
it and the data is theirs,
Hmm.
because we wanted to make sure we do things right. So
Hmm.
the easiest things in terms of privacy is to let people keep their data,
Of
and they
course.
decide if they want to
Yeah.
send it to their doctor.
Uh-huh.
The next step would be to work with clinics so they can,
Oh,
drive this, do the follow-up using our product
yeah,
and all those steps. So that's what we're working on right now.
good. Which
The
might actually bring you some money.
Yeah, that needs to be there.
Free is not good. It goes for us, but not you.
Yeah, so it's always the balance. You want to bring value, but to
Mhm.
really have a product that is successful, it has to make money,
Of course,
right?
absolutely. Otherwise, you guys would just be, not doing anything. And there's a big difference in corporate salaries and entrepreneur salaries. And that's another piece that we need to mention about entrepreneurship is that sometimes it can take a few years. So you need some kind of a cushion there so that you can survive it. So,
It's not easy. And when
yeah.
I started, I was actually doing consulting jobs in parallel.
Oh, were you? Okay.
So not for a while now, but in the beginning when it was mostly kind of figuring out if this has a chance to work, and
Yeah.
then I was doing kind of half-time jobs in consulting
Yeah.
to other startups in a way, but the different space and space that I have more
Yeah.
background
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in.
So, yeah, so tell me, so your next step is to get this in mainstream is what I'm hearing,
Mhm.
basically. And get the medical community excited about it and therefore using it, we hope. And you say this is AI based and AI, we have somebody talking about AI this year here in the Palooza, but AI scares people a little bit. But do you think that AI or any other technologies will also help ADHD and help us manage our ADHD in the now or in the future?
Yeah, so AI is helping in many ways.
Okay.
I'm using ChatGPT all the time, uh, but you need to know what it is and what it's not,
Ah, okay.
right? Like any technology, cell phones made our life much easier,
Yeah,
but they can also have dangers in them, right?
complicated.
Uh, so the AI we're using is very specific. When you're using AI for clinical decisions, you need to know exactly what you're doing and
Ah,
if you can trust it or not. In our case, it's easier because it's what's called decision support, right? The
of
doctor makes a decision in it.
course. Yeah.
So we give them the information and they make a judgment call. It's not
Mhm.
automatic and it shouldn't be.
Right.
We do hope that with time, what we'll be able to do is get more data because there's not enough data about ADHD.
True.
And then you'll be able to say most people that reacted like you to this medication or have your symptoms will do better with that. Because,
Got it.
I learned there are 30 different types of medications.
Yeah.
Doctors don't know them. They can't.
Yeah.
right? Most of them don't. So that's kind of a sign of a direction you want to go. So to be able to provide guidelines of like people with diabetes have, right? They will choose your medication and dose based on different parameters that have to do with your health and weight and age and other things.
Right.
And we don't have it in ADHD, and that's because there's no data.
Wow, this is groundbreaking. That's one reason. You see why I wanted to have her, and why I'm thrilled to have her be here to share this with you. Because if you're like me, there's a little buzz going on for me. It's like, ooh, this is really wonderful. Because you're right, hard data is, if you excuse the pun, hard to come by in ADHD, and the only place we've really got hard data, if you'd call it hard, is in research, right? And so but even I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. At the end of every research paper I read, it says, and more research is needed. So does that mean I trust it, or do I wait till more research is done? This sounds like this is really solid information that we can trust, and I so appreciate that. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our time together, but tell me, if you were going to do this all over again, there probably were some things you would do differently, but what advice would you give to ADHD women who are thinking about jumping into the pond of entrepreneurship?
So make sure you have a strong support system,
Okay.
whether it's home or friends or co-founders. It's hard, and we tend to be reactive emotionally more than others,
Hmm.
right? So it's not a, we tend to be uh, sometimes very optimistic, right? I'll work hard, I know to deal with challenges and I can work through it.
Yeah.
And
Of
that's great. You kind of have to be very optimistic to go into these type of challenges.
course.
But you also need to recognize it doesn't matter how great your idea is, how smart you are.
Mhm.
It's not easy. And you'll have many people telling you you're doing the wrong thing.
Oh,
And
God.
I can tell you, many people were giving me advice, and their intention were good,
Of
but
course.
they didn't know what we were doing. They are kind of from the software space, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and we had long discussions and realized, no, that advice doesn't work for us. That's not what we're going to do because that's not where a product build brings the most value. And you have to have someone to talk about these things with
Yeah.
and make decisions when you question yourself
Yeah.
because we will, right? Everyone does. So I
Absolutely.
think I think that's super important. And also know that you are working for something that is enough for you to keep you going when it's hard.
Hmm. Say
Because
more about that. Say more about that.
some people start startups because to make money, or
Right.
and it's good. And many, it's for them just to feel they can, and that's a good motivator.
Yeah.
But when you have when you're an employee, when you have a job, you have low days and high days, but there'll be a deadline that someone gives you and you'll have to kind of pull yourself up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're starting your own company, and I'm sure you know that, right? You need to push yourself.
Yeah.
And
I,
if it's not from inside, it's not going to work,
you're absolutely right.
right? And I think that's something that you need to kind of recognize. And then one thing I was told when I started is talk to 100 people.
Ah, got it.
Now, I think I talked way more,
Did you?
eh, but in the beginning, they were not necessarily super relevant people. They are kind of relevant, but as you talk to people, you learn better to explain and to understand what you're doing and where you
Ah,
want to go.
got it. That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
they will tell you, oh, talk to that person and talk to that person. But it's the talking and explaining your idea to many people
Uh-huh.
and helps you realize what it is and who you want to address.
Well, it sounds like a way of pruning off the things that don't fit, and distilling the things that are really the essence of what your business is.
Mhm.
And I know ADHD entrepreneur women who have 5 or 6 different businesses going at the same time, which means that none of those businesses get their full-time attention, right?
Mhm.
And yet we are so diversified, let me use the actual word that you would use in business, we have so many interests that it's very hard to do that pruning. So congratulations on your willingness to do it and to say that may happen later, but it can't happen right now because we have to be focused. I love the name of your company. It's iFocus Health, right? So of course they are trying to do that for us, but they also are doing it in their own business. So I'm saying that to the audience here, not necessarily to you. And you mentioned a lot of us do not have partners. I don't have a partner. I have an amazing assistant who kind of serves as my partner a lot of times. She'll say, no, I think you should charge more for that. No, I think we should do this a different way. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't think about that. So it's a lonely business if you are a solopreneur, let's call it that. And you mentioned maintaining motivation, maintaining a belief in, can I really do this? Because there were so many times that I just said, oh, this is not working. It's never going to work. Why? Blah, blah, blah. All that self-talk, right?
Mhm.
That we continue to do. I mean, it happens everywhere, but especially when you're an entrepreneur and no one's there to say, of course you can do this. Of course you can. Look, there's a little place over here. So I fortunately have an amazing husband who supports me and I will say to him, I don't want you to talk to me. I just need you to listen to this and just hold me and let me cry for a while. But I also have hired a progression and succession of business coaches. So there's also help out there to help. I mean, that obviously is, you pay for that, but there also are some volunteer places that you can get help for budding entrepreneurs. So what I'm hearing is that you get support from your partners. Do you also get support outside of the partnership?
Yeah, so I get support from my family. My husband is super supportive.
Great.
I get amazing support from my kids.
Oh, nice.
I want to say it for the mothers out there, especially mothers for daughters,
Uh-huh.
right? When you go out and do things, even when they're teenagers and they're against everything we do, they still watch.
Yeah.
Now, my oldest daughter, she's 19 now, and she's a
Uh-huh.
student. And she was here on winter break, and I had a bad day. And we
Mhm.
went out to coffee, and she started asking what are the problems and why it isn't working, and coming up with ideas. Now, that was so fun
Yeah.
for
No,
both of us.
yeah. Oh, wow.
Uh,
That's wonderful.
so both my children are really involved and knows what I'm doing. My kid with ADHD is one of our first guinea pigs, and they test the product and find problems. So, and I think it's not easy. And if you have younger kids, it can be even harder, that need
Of
more of your time.
course.
But they learn so much and they really feel proud that their mother is doing something that they can understand and brings value for people.
What a role model you are for her. And if I'm correct, she was still at home. She was 16
Yeah.
when she got started. So she was there at the very beginning, at the inception and the birthing of this company. And that in itself is pretty interesting. It just occurred to me last night, my 14-year-old granddaughter interviewed me about being an entrepreneur for her language arts class. And I'm sure a lot of the things I told her, she didn't know that about me. So like you, we had a good time talking about this kind of stuff. And I think we are the genesis of the next generation, right? We are that progeny and our legacy to them is to do this and stumble and fall without having to, and picking ourselves back up again and saying, we can do this.
Yeah.
So I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being with us today. So let's we jumped around a lot of different places. We talked about iFocus Health. We talked about entrepreneurship. We talked about kiddos. So what's the most important message you really want our audience to take home today?
So I think one is find people, whether you work as an entrepreneur or employee or a self-employed in any other format.
Yeah, yeah.
Surround yourself with people that support you for who you are,
Oh,
not trying to make you someone else, right? We will not be neurotypical.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's who we are. There are lots of values. Each of us has our own values and strengths,
Of course.
but surround yourself by people that help you realize your strengths.
Hmm.
I think that's super important, and that is really a huge power source.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good rule of thumb for living with ADHD is to be able, because we just can't hold it all ourselves. No one can. Whether you
No
have
one can.
ADHD or not, there are days when you doubt yourself and you say, oh, what the heck? And that hopelessness comes in, and then the hopelessness recedes. But it goes faster when you have somebody on your team. And I don't mean an entrepreneurial team. I mean your team in life. So I'm so thrilled I'm so thrilled for you that you have that, and for your partners as well. And I'm thrilled that you were able to share some of that with us today. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you'll come back and let us know more about what you're doing next year. Keeping my fingers crossed. All right, fabulous. All right, you guys. You know that you can watch this again. I told you it was going to be fun. I told you it was going to be fun. You can watch it again, 27 hours, whatever. I don't know, whatever your time zone is. It might not be quite that much, but you're going to have enough time to watch them. And that includes any of the sessions that were released today. So you've got the mindfulness meditation, and you've also got all these sessions that we released today. And you have until tomorrow. I don't know, what is it? And in the East Coast, I think it's like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. You have plenty of time to watch it. And don't forget about the pink ticket party that's going to be on Saturday, and it'll be from 1 to 4. There's a small charge for that, and we top that at about 50 or 60 women. We want to be able to have enough women to have a conversation, but not too many that it's just an uproar, because we just get too overwhelmed with that, right? Oh, I want to remind you that the necklace contest is in effect. So this is the necklace that I'm wearing with Abby. And what else? And of course, you're going to get information about how to buy all the program, all the package, and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you so much again, my friend. I'm so happy you
Thank you
were
for
here.
having me. I'm so
Yes,
excited to
it was
be part of it.
wonderful. And there's much, much more. Don't forget, come back and see us. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now. What a great session, eh? And if we didn't completely figure out everything about women's ADHD, at least we got another piece of the puzzle.